And we're live. All right. Hey, what's up, phone numbers? Welcome to the Mobile Roar podcast for the week of September 12th, 2014. I'm Joe Fidua.
And I am Christopher Chavez.
And I am Kevin, the Apple fanboy Krause.
Oh, God, don't say that, man.
Well, I mean, he actually is in this hangout via his iPhone right now. So,
Hey.
technical difficulties with Kevin's internet, but he's making it work, sacrificing his precious data plan for us. So, we thank you for that.
My pleasure. Great to be here. Missed doing this last week. You know, it was a lonely week without jumping on the podcast with you guys last week.
Right. So last week you didn't do the podcast because Samsung event.
So much stuff.
And also since then the Apple event happened. So we have quite a bit to talk about. But we'll start with Samsung since that happened first. They announced the Galaxy Note 4, the Galaxy Note Edge, a new Tizen watch that's massive.
Tizen?
A crazy virtual reality headset. So yeah, Samsung is Samsunging.
They're doing what they do.
They also released some great commercials this week that aren't that great, actually.
You know, I haven't had a chance to watch those yet, but I heard they're not very funny.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's something we can save for later. Maybe when we talk about Apple or fails or something like that.
Right. So I guess, I mean, what do you guys want to talk about in terms of the Note 4 is pretty much
the GOAT 4.
The GOAT 4, the greatest of all time. 4.
We should just call it the GOAT 4.
Yeah, it's another typical Samsung release, right? You knew what you were going to get when you got it, which I think is kind of the standard thing. I mean, when we'll talk about Moto, we'll see that they were pretty much just, you knew what you were going to get, just a little bit upgraded. Apple, maybe a little bit different story, but Samsung, the Note 4, even though they started their presentation being like, oh, this has been completely redesigned, I didn't see it. It didn't look like they built a new phone from the ground up. It, just another Galaxy Note to me. It had the same size screen as last year's version, right?
Yes. First time they did not increase the screen size.
I mean, I like that. I mean, how much bigger can you get from 5.7, really? I mean, you can shrink the bezels, but
can get so big.
I think like people or these manufacturers need to start focusing on future stuff, kind of doing like the whole Apple business approach, where it's like, if we give people too much right now, what the hell are we going to do later? So it's like they need to just slow it down, maybe upgrade a couple internals, do a couple software changes or something. But I don't think we need to keep like 5.8 inch, 5.9 inch. It's silly. People need to chill. Like, I wouldn't mind, honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing for every manufacturer the same exact smartphone, but just like, again, the Apple approach where it's like the one M8S and you just get, slightly upgraded internals for next year and stuff. But that's a whole different story, I guess.
One thing I will say about the Note 4 is I think it does look better than the 3.
It looks nice. I think it looks nice, and I mean, we kind of come to expect with the Note releases that they end up just being sort of, they take what they did with the Galaxy, whatever the Galaxy S of that year was, so for this year it's the Galaxy S5, they improve the hardware specs a little bit and add in some of those Note-specific stylus features and software features, but in many ways you can just kind of look at the Note line as more of a beefed-up Galaxy S when it does launch, so it's certainly going to be faster, right, than the Galaxy S5. It has a 805 processor in there, right, Snapdragon 805.
Oh, yeah.
3 gigabytes of RAM too. I know people get very excited about that RAM.
Yeah, they love getting rammed. I think it'll be impressive hardware. I think it'll have good performance. I mean, it'll always have the TouchWiz kind of layer bogging it down, I think, but it should be pretty impressive. And I think it looks nice. It's got a Quad HD Super AMOLED display, which is something that we haven't mentioned.
Oh shoot! I think we lost
a pretty sweet upgrade to go.
Yeah.
But hello, am I here?
Oh, there you go. You're back.
Yeah, you're cutting in and out a little bit, but you're back.
Oh, sorry, my service. No, I was saying the Quad HD Super AMOLED display is just, to me, that's badass. I think that's an awesome upgrade for that phone.
For sure, on a screen that big. I mean, unlike something like the G3, which has it, it's like, all right, that's a lot of pixels, but I mean, on a huge phone, it makes a lot more of a difference.
Definitely. I mean, I would say 7-inch tablet only, but I mean, I guess it's cool too. I mean, nobody can touch Samsung's displays, and I mean, they're proving that the Galaxy Note 4, they always have some crazy new technology, or their Galaxy Note line, but it looks good. Looks like a good phone. They put some
Yeah.
aluminum on it. I like that. It's pretty nice.
I don't think
But
we have to spend too much time on the Note 4 because it is pretty much just an improved version of the 3. But I think the crazier device is definitely the Note Edge.
oh gosh. So yeah, the Edge. The Edge is basically what Samsung showed off back at CES. I can't remember what year it was. Like 2 years ago, I think it was.
Yeah, something like that.
They showed off, and this was during. This wasn't even during like it wasn't Samsung Mobile or anything. It was just Samsung talking about their displays and how they have all this crazy new technology. And the guy showed a phone, and it was literally the Edge that we see today, but it was just like a prototype device, and it just had a little curved side to it. And I mean, it seemed very prototypey because you're just like, why is only one side curved? That's kind of weird. I don't know,
Mhm.
odd. But I mean, a lot of people were expecting some type of curved Galaxy Note 4 because there were so many leaked patents the past couple of months or a year or so, where like they had these Note 4 prototypes or like patent designs, which showed the stylus and everything, so you knew it was a Note 4. And they had the curved display, but they had it on both sides, and they showed like a much more futuristic design in some of these patent designs, but didn't really turn out that way for the Edge. The Edge just has that one odd, weird side to it. I don't know. How do you guys?
I
Do you
think
guys
the
feel
Edge
about
looks
it?
cool. Can you guys hear me, by the way?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I switched back to Wi-Fi. I'm back on.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
you're
cool.
good.
All right, cool. Yeah, I thought the Edge looked cool, but like Chris mentioned, it like was identical to this prototype they showed off back
Yeah.
at CES 2013. So I mean, I never actually expected that to be a phone that they came out with, but it looks like they just took that design and ran with it. Um, I think it's definitely. I mean, we talk about how the Note 4 itself is just kind of an iterative update. The Galaxy S5, we call that kind of an iterative update. So then Samsung really does kind of, in a way, take a step forward to do something a little more interesting with the Note Edge. But as you could read in a little editorial piece I put up on Fandroid over the weekend, the idea isn't all that new because they kind of did something similar way back with the original Galaxy S when they released the Samsung Continuum, which we all know how that ended up for them.
Which I mean, arguably might have better features than this Edge. I mean, because I mean, at least that had like a legit little display. I mean,
Little
this
ticker.
is so small on the side. I don't know. I mean, they say it's going to be up to developers to make it useful, but
Nope, nobody's gonna make these. I'll put money
right,
on that right now. No one's gonna make that.
exactly.
Well, that's exactly
Continue
what
to
happened with the
useful.
Continuum. They said, "Oh, the developers can do stuff with this," and no one did.
I mean, a Samsung today is a lot different from Samsung back then. I
For
mean, even
sure.
though they're doing a lot of the same crap, but I mean, they have a lot more, pulling power, I guess. And I would imagine there would be developers like that want to take advantage of something like that. But I just don't think. I still don't think it's useful. There's really not much you can do with the little side ticker area there, and it's just.
It's so dumb too because I mean, this is such a Samsung thing. They make this new phone, has a cool display like that, it wraps around the edge. But of course, the software. I mean, I've seen people post pictures where they're using an app in landscape mode, and like that little edge area is covering part of the app.
Uh,
Because I mean,
yeah.
it's like the software is half baked. They don't have it integrated with everything, and it's
I
just
mean, that's what Samsung's TouchWiz. I always feel like it just kind of it's always this sort of half baked, kind of like just hacky TouchWiz stuff that they manage to put on top of Android. Even when it's like they're multitasking, they have like those little window things that pop up and stuff, and it always like they kind of behave weird. It's always choppy. It's not very smooth, despite like their 500 core processors or GPUs they have in this thing. Like nothing really works smoothly. But Samsung is just trying to do the whole kitchen sink approach. It's just anything we can get out, just throw it out. They don't even care if they don't sell any of the Edge. It's more of just like a hey, look, this is what we can do. We're
yeah.
Samsung.
Well, that was my opinion, kind of in that piece I wrote about that Edge versus the Continuum, is that they've released so many devices that should have stayed in the prototype room, but
Yeah.
they release them just because they can. I guess they don't really lose much money by making some units and putting them out there for sale, but yeah, the developers don't really pick up on it, and it always is that way with Samsung when they have these software features that interface with the hardware in a unique way. It always gets wonky, and then
for everyone else that comes along.
And for Android enthusiasts, people that read the site, these weird off-ball like Samsung like offshoot devices, don't expect to see the same level of software support as far as like Android updates or any of that stuff as the Galaxy Note 4 or the Galaxy S5. Like I won't be surprised if this thing never sees like another Android update from what it launches with. Like,
Yeah.
you just don't expect it because it's
I'm
such a
honestly
weird,
surprised
weird
it's
phone.
launching in the U.S. I thought it would be similar to like the Galaxy Round and have a extremely
Yeah.
limited release, but
The Galaxy Taco. That thing is ridiculous. And again, it's just Samsung doing it because they can, and it's almost like them. It's like a pissing match between them and LG. LG is going to probably release. I will put money on it. They're going to release something very similar, or something that has to do with this, bendable AMOLED technology, which is cool. Everyone can agree that there are definite like applications where bendable AMOLED and all that stuff, flexible AMOLED could be really cool. There's some cool design stuff you can do. You can fold it like a wallet, all this stuff, and we've seen that stuff already. But right now, it's just not ready, and Samsung and LG are just kind of like giving you like these very small little tastes. But I don't think it's gonna make an impact. No one's gonna see the Galaxy Edge and just be like, "Holy crap! Is your display bending around the side?" It doesn't. It's just it's silly. It's silly, and it's not. I don't think it's
Absolutely.
going to make an impact at all.
absolutely. I think we need companies to push the envelope and strive for progression like this and innovation in the technology. But until flexible display technology is also coupled with core aspects of the Android operating system that are just core to Android and kind of relate to these new kind of technologies, then it's kind of hard to see one company really pushing this whole sort of
Yeah.
category of products forward. I just don't see it happening.
It's cool to push the technology, but I mean, if you get the device and, like I said, the software is not working and it's super buggy and like it's not that great to use, it's like, well, what's the point?
Exactly.
All right, so they also, I don't even know if we need to talk about this much. The Gear S, it's a Tizen smartwatch. It's friggin' huge and it has a home button, and I think it's stupid.
It's curved. It's kind of like a thicker version of that their wearable one, the Fitness, the Gear.
Yeah, that is.
Gear
Yeah,
Fit.
it is curved, which is pretty cool for a watch. I can see that, but I don't know. Smartwatch with a home button, not a fan of that.
It works. The more I use, and I guess we'll get into it later, but the more I
Yeah.
use Android Wear, the more I freaking wish they had a home button because it's so frustrating sometimes. But again, we'll get into that later, I guess. I don't know.
Last thing from Samsung is this Gear VR, which is, I guess, Google Cardboard, except made with Oculus, and you put a Note 4 in it.
It's Google Plastic. It's Samsung SAMOLED plastic.
It's so silly. How much?
I mean,
are
it
they
is
selling?
made with Oculus, people, which I think gives it a little more credit because
For
they
sure.
know what they're doing.
Hmm.
Yeah, and it actually makes it the interesting thing that I don't know if many people commented on is it makes it one of the first easily available to consumers version of Oculus Rift, because Oculus Rift is out there, but it's kind of pricey and not everybody's really interested in trying it out. It's kind of got limited usage, but this is the first real mass market sort of
Yeah.
attempt to get that Oculus technology into people's hands, which is cool. I don't know if it'll catch on, but it's pretty cool.
Was there any like release date or pricing for that? I don't remember.
I don't think there was.
Okay.
I don't think we got official release dates yet on any of the Samsung stuff that was in
Yeah,
there.
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that will be interesting when that thing comes out to check it out. I think it could be pretty cool.
Could be cool. I think the technology itself is cool, but I feel like as far as game support and all that, I don't think we'll see very much going down that line.
But again, like the original Gear watches came out alongside the Note, they're shooting themselves in the foot by really limiting who can use it and who can access it. So
Right.
Yeah, you have to have a Galaxy Note 4. It's basically that's going to power the entire thing. The CPU, the display, everything is going to be a Galaxy Note 4. Crazy.
All right, so that's Samsung. I guess we probably sound like we're pretty anti-Samsung, but it's just hard when you know so much about devices before they're going to come out, and you kind of can even just predict what it's going to be, and then it comes out and it's exactly what you thought, and
Yeah.
it just gets kind of boring. But I guess Motorola, they kind of did a little bit of the same thing. They came out with the new Moto X second generation, same name, Moto G second generation, Chris has the Moto X and the Moto 360 right now. Kevin, I believe, has the Moto G.
Yes, I do. Not
So
in
we
my
have some
hands.
first-hand experience with these guys. Chris, why don't you talk about the Moto X first?
So on Thursday, Motorola had this huge event over at their HQ in Chicago. It was kind of interesting because it wasn't your typical event where you just go. They have a little, showroom, or floor or anything like. Not really an announcement. The announcement was weird because they took you through these little rooms that they had in their HQ that they set up to look like, it was almost like IKEA. So you go through these little rooms, and each little station, they had the Moto X that they weren't really, they never showed off, they never talked about, they didn't announce beforehand. So you go to this room and you're like, oh, it's the Moto X, oh gosh, there it is, and you're trying to figure out what it's called and all this stuff, and where everyone's trying to take pictures of it, but he's like, hey, hold on, guys, I want to show you something first, and he just went through like step by step every feature, and then he'd go into a different room, and then he's like, all right, now pretend I'm at work, and I want to like, it was just the funniest thing, and he's like, your Moto X is in your bag, and I can just talk to it from there and say, hey, Moto X, and it would go up, and everyone's like, oh, okay, that's cool. So it was interesting to see the great lengths that Motorola went to kind of impress everybody, and it was kind of fun because it wasn't your typical Samsung, press event where they have like a Broadway show or HTC's, kind of more timid and low-key version or anything. It was cool. It was pretty neat. But the cool part was they took you through the entire Motorola factory, their entire HQ. So you got to see every single component being built. You got to talk to the guys that made the speaker, and they talk about how they make the speaker technology and all this crazy stuff. So that part was really fun. But at the end of the day, they gave us a Moto X, the new Moto X. They didn't actually change the name, so that, oh crap, stop it. I don't know why it activated there, but interesting. And then they gave us the Moto 360 as well, which I have right here. And of course, everyone knows what the Moto 360 is and that fun stuff. But so the Moto X, it's a very small, I wouldn't say small upgrade from the original Moto X. The build quality is way better. It's made from it's got this steel frame that goes around the sides. They have some sort of crazy new antenna technology that makes it 2 times the reception of an average device, and 1080p display, a little bit more, well, same amount of RAM. Front-facing speaker, it's not stereo. The Moto G actually has stereo front-facing speakers. The Moto X just has one single front-facing speaker on the bottom. And yeah, it's good. I guess a lot of people are disappointed by the battery size, which didn't really get a big bump at all. It's still, the previous one was 2,200. This one is 2,300. So, 100 milliamp hour isn't very much. It's going to give you an extra 5 minutes, but it's cool. It's cool.
Did you
Cameras.
get to, oh, sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, did you get to choose what color or whatever Moto X that you got?
No, at the very end, they let you just go crazy, and they had again more stations and everything set up in this big room where you could play with all the different devices, and they had every single variation of the Moto G, every variation of the Moto X.
Holy cow!
But
aren't there thousands of variations though?
Yeah, it was. There was a lot. Every single one. So if someone would grab the phone that you thought was the cool one and you wanted to take a picture of, you would just lose it because you're just like, crap. I like that. They have the way you customize it. You have the little ring around the Moto, which is a different color, and then the grills on the front, which can change the accent color.
Ah.
And then you have your back, which you can customize, and you can choose different colors, different textures, backs, and then the front is always black or white, and you can decide be a Moto maker. But
they don't have different
leather
shades
now.
of the. They don't have shades of the metal, do they? They don't have a aluminum and a slate gray or whatever.
If you get the white face, it comes with the silver, the light silver. If you get the black face, it comes with the. I guess it's more of a gunmetal, darker metal. So it's pretty cool, and you got to see every single. You got to see all the wood backs. You got to see all the different colored backs that they have. Now they have the leather backs.
Yeah, those leather ones are gonna be cool, man. Because I can just imagine those getting a nice little wear to them, looking.
Oh
nice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but it's cool. I like what Motorola's doing. There's just from the comments on Fandroid and stuff, people just quickly read through the spec sheet. That's gonna fail, no big deal. But the stuff that Motorola's doing with like the software, and they're so like dedicated. They have like such a good software team, and their hardware team is so cool. And they showed you everything. We got to see like meet everybody, shake hands with the dude. He's wearing like a lab coat and showing us how they like blast the speaker with lasers and all this weird stuff. Um, but they're trying to do something different with the software stuff. So it's like, to me, it's like an improved Nexus 5, and that's kind of all I really wanted. And the phone is freaking fast as heck. The camera's awesome. Battery life is great. I really have little to no complaints about this phone, other than the lack of wireless charging or waterproofing or anything, that weird stuff. But the phone's great. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I think people who have the Moto X love it, like really love it. It's a nice little phone. So, but I don't know, the specs of the original Moto X I didn't think were really flagship worthy in some cases.
Definitely not.
But this one for sure is.
Yeah, it matches. It's got a Snapdragon, what is it, 801 processor in it. So it's pretty much what's out right now, the fastest processor out at this current moment, until the 805 comes out. But even then, it's running stock Android. It's stock Android, so everything is so just stupid fast on this thing. Even like my complaint with the previous generation was the quick launch camera thing on the original Moto X would take a while to launch that. Every time I say Moto X, it just does that. The original Moto X, it would hang, so you would do it and you'd wait and it'd vibrate and you're like, come on camera, and the camera would come on. It was frustrating. The last Moto X, there was so much cool stuff about it that I liked and I wanted to have it, but so much that ultimately held it back, and I was just like, no, I got to get a better device. But this one, this easily competes with the HTC One M8. It easily competes with the Galaxy S5. Anything. iPhone 6. It's almost like, I'm pretty sure this is the exact same size because the bezels are so freaking small on it.
No, it's definitely bigger. That's my one little gripe is I thought the size of the original one was super nice, but they did make it
perfect,
bigger.
Yeah. I'm thinking though, like compared to, it's smaller than the HTC One M8. It's smaller than all these other phones, Xperia Z2, Xperia Z3. All these phones are huge. Galaxy S5, freaking ginormous. But this one is like perfectly. If they don't up the screen size any more from where it is right now, I would be so happy. It is. It fits perfectly in the hand, perfectly.
All right. So before we get on to, I think, the device that everyone's waiting to hear about, Kevin, tell us a little bit about the Moto G.
Okay, yeah, the Moto G, I think kind of just picking up from what Chris is talking about, one thing I really think Motorola did well this time, in terms of last year the Moto X came out, and there was rumors leading up to that. People thought it was going to be a real low-price device, etc. So it kind of was, and when it launched, the pricing was good, but it wasn't as nice as the phone could be. Now I think that phone has improved a lot. I think Motorola has really kind of defined their product categories a lot better. Like Moto X is now a true flagship. It's not just a mid-tier kind of phone. It's a true flagship, and they've really kind of gone all in with the Moto G as well, which I was surprised to find out has been their best-selling handset of all time. And they updated the Moto G, not as much as they updated the Moto X. They did increase the screen size a similar amount as the Moto X increased, but it's so it's up to a 5-inch display right now. But the internal specs actually stay pretty much identical to the last generation Moto G. But that's not to say it's not a good phone. It's still solid build quality. It still is great for the price. This is a less than $200 without a contract, which is pretty amazing.
Crazy good.
The one knock is it doesn't have LTE, kind of like the original Moto G launched without LTE. So they'll probably come out with an LTE model down the road. And it retains some of that. It's not as customizable as a Moto X. You can't order it from the factory customized, but Motorola is still sticking with their Moto shells that can change the color on the back. They introduced the new flip shells, which add a folio type case to it. So they've done a lot of cool things with the Moto G. It's gone, for me, in my mind, it's gone from being a phone that I would be like, oh, that's for someone that can't afford a phone at all, to being like a phone that I would recommend if you don't want to like have to spend $500, $400 for your next phone, like if you don't really care that much about having this super fast phone, if you don't need to be on the bleeding edge, you can get a perfectly adequate, and in many cases better than a lot of other other similarly priced Android devices. The great thing about the Moto G is you could get this phone for a similar price from a no-name Chinese manufacturer or some other, like a Huawei or something. But it's not going to have the quality. It's not going to have the support that the Moto G is going to have. So I'm pretty excited about the Moto G.
It's perfect if you're like, your contract's not up and you like bust up your current phone, like, oh, I just buy this Moto G for less than $200 and you got a good phone. You don't have to waste your contract.
I mean, even for like my mom right now, her phone is dying. I forget what phone she has. Like, I gave her one of my Oppos or something like that. Her phone's crapping out. My sister's using my mom's old G2X. I mean, these are like ancient phones, and they're all, man, we need to upgrade our phones. What should we get? I'm like, well, what's your price range? $200. It's like, well, the Moto G is like almost a no-brainer. It's so awesome. You're going to get these Android updates. So when Android L comes out, boom, your Moto G is going to get it. You don't have to worry about it. So, I mean, that part alone is just makes it a huge value, and you're not going to see that from Samsung. You can go and get a $200 off-contract Samsung phone, but you will never see an update ever on any of those phones. And same goes for like these HTC Desire phones. I mean, yeah, HTC is a little bit better with their software support, but LG, one of these old, these cheap low-end LGs, you'll never see an update. So it's like that's the coolest part about Motorola smartphones.
Another great thing about the Moto G, and this is just kind of a secondary use you could get this for, is if you're someone who travels internationally a lot and you don't have an international phone, you could just buy one of these and have it. It's a good investment if you're gonna go into areas where you need that kind of cell phone coverage. So there's a lot of things that make it appealing, not just for people on a budget, but for people looking for a second smartphone, a beater smartphone, something they can kind of not worry as much about getting it messed up, or they want to travel with it or whatever.
For the kids, makes a great phone for the kids.
Yeah.
Man, we're like a commercial right now. At least that's what Fandroid commenters would say.
Oh, yeah.
So before we get on to the watch, we have a question about the Moto X, and I think you answered it. It's not water resistant, is it, Chris?
The Moto X? No, it's not. I mean, they say water resistant on the spec sheet, but it's not like it doesn't have an IP rating or anything like that.
All right, cool. All right, so talk about that thing on your wrist.
So the Moto 360 here is Motorola's latest smartwatch. Doesn't really have the specs. Okay, so before this thing even launched, first of all, we were talking about how this was going to be, well, I was saying how it's going to be the most expensive smartwatch out of all of them. And in some ways it is. It is a little bit more pricey than, the LG G Watch and all these other smartwatches, but $250. $250. Nobody was really expecting that. But then you see some of the specs. It's using a TI OMAP 3 from, I don't even know what year that was, 2012 or something?
Did people even use TI OMAP? That was
that's
like Motorola took like the stock left over from the original Droid, and they were
I was gonna say, that's like Droid 3 right there.
Yeah, like Droid. I think that's like the Droid X actually. I have to go and look back. I'm gonna check back, but I think that is a Droid X. Single core, not even dual core or anything like that. Meanwhile, the LG G Watch, the Samsung Gear Live, all these are using Snapdragon 400 quad-core processors, which, I mean, you could argue is a little overkill for a smartwatch, but especially given what Android Wear does. But the performance on this thing is pretty crappy. The display is great. Don't get me wrong. The display is like one of the brightest LCDs. It's noticeably brighter than the LG. The blacks are darker. It just looks amazing compared to the LG G Watch, but you get that bezel-less display on it. It's just almost bezel-less, I should say. 99% bezel-less.
Droid X comment was correct, by the way.
I want to see how much it like sticks up off the top of your wrist. Like, how thick is it?
Oh.
Give me like a profile of it.
It is pretty thin. It's
not bad at all.
Yeah, it's not as thick as I thought it might end up being.
It's a very little, tiny, small little hockey puck just floating on your wrist.
This whole processor thing, though, I remember a couple episodes ago we were talking about the $250 price point, and I made the comment, like, why do we keep wishing this thing was more expensive? And I think this is why.
Yeah, I mean, and not only that, I mean, you have to, it's the whole, economic supply and demand thing, and you have to kind of wonder if Motorola could have sold this thing for more money. I mean, you watched as like the first day, it's sold out of Best Buy, sold out of the Google Play Store. It's slowly trickling.
Minutes.
Yeah, minutes. So that tells you that it's definitely a hit. There were so many people that were interested in buying this thing, and I feel like Motorola kind of flubbed that whole area up. They didn't really gauge consumer demand very well. All these people were holding out on an Android Wear smartwatch because it was like the Moto 360 was going to be their first, and that's saying something special. It's very special, but they packed it with some less than stellar specs, and it kind of sucks. I mean, if they would have sold it they could have made so much more money, I think. Snapdragon 400 processor, a little bit bigger battery, sold it for like $350, $300, $360. Could have sold it for $360. It would have made perfect sense because of the name and all that. But yeah, the performance is a little crappy. It's like when you scroll stuff around, it's juddering. It's the screen responsiveness. Sometimes you'll have to tap things a couple times to get it to register. You're trying to scroll and it's like blah, 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 just acting stupid. But it looks damn sexy, and I guess at the end of the day, that's all that really matters, right?
So, battery life.
Battery life. People were losing their minds because there was an early report from the Wall Street Journal. I forget who the writer's name was, but I think I follow her on Twitter. She was reporting 10-hour battery life, and this was after... Like, I don't know if she prefaced this at all in her freaking article. This is after she turned on ambient mode, which keeps the display on, the entire time that it's on your wrist. To be fair, the LG G Watch, you can turn on ambient mode, and it reduces battery life, but not that crazy. Nothing, like, too wild. You can still get well over a day's usage on the LG G Watch. The Moto 360, however, you turn on ambient mode, and... that stupid TIO map, it doesn't know how to do any... I don't know if it's running full steam or what, but... the stupid 300 milliamp hour battery, 320 milliamp hour battery, just completely dies. You'll be lucky to hit 9 hours, maybe 10 hours of battery life if you have ambient mode on. But it's turned off by default, so as soon as you get, you charge it up, you take it out of the box, whatever, the ambient mode is turned off because Motorola knows this, and they're not going to... just keep ambient mode on there, and you're going to have this horrible battery life. And when you turn ambient mode on, it's like, warning, this will dramatically decrease your battery life. Are you sure you want to do this? And you're just like, yes. Are you positive? And that part sucks. But you don't really need... Why would you need your watch on all the time when you can just...
Well, it is a watch.
You flick your wrist and it's on.
The point is, as long as it turns on when you go to look at it, that's the only time you need it to be on.
Yeah, and
is that pretty accurate? The lifting your wrist thing?
Yeah, it's super quick. So like, it's off right now, and then let me
Nice.
Yeah, it's within like that second that you twist your wrist, and you'll see it coming on and off.
Just how quickly does it go back off?
Pretty darn quick. So let me see. Here, it's on right now, and then I'll turn it, and there it goes. There it goes.
Okay.
So doesn't stay on for very long.
Is it super sensitive though? Does it just turn on and off all the time when you're just like walking down the street with your...
Well, because it's not just by motion. So like if it's off right now, I can't just shake my wrist and then like and it turns on. It would have to be at this angle, and it has to be at like that. So it has to be at like that for it to go on.
Okay.
Otherwise, yeah. So you don't really see it turn on, but sometimes you're driving, and if you're turning the wheel a little bit like that, it'll turn on. But I mean, it's not really a big deal at all. And it's got a heart rate sensor, which is really cool. I've been using that since I've been hitting the gym lately.
But back to the battery. You've been tweeting out kind of how it's been going for you.
Yeah.
What's your experience been like?
Battery life has been like a full 24 hours. I mean, if you want to keep this thing running until battery is completely exhausted, you can easily hit 24 hours. So I mean, yeah, you have to charge it at the end of the night because if you take it off the dock at 7 a.m. and it's only going to last until 7 a.m. the next day. So at some point during the night, you're going to have to charge it. But and that's not even really that big of a deal because when you put it on its dock, it charges fully charged within like maybe a half hour or so. Like it's not very long to charge this tiny little battery. And it utilizes key wireless charging, so you could use it with existing wireless chargers that you have for your Android devices, which is awesome. Whereas like the LG G Watch has this proprietary little charger that you got to carry around with you. If you lose it, you're screwed. You got to buy another one. They're like $35. Same thing with Samsung. This is cool because it's a little bit more. I mean, not everyone has a key wireless charger lying around, but chances are if you have some wireless charging device, you will have a charger. So it's a little more common than say a proprietary charger. So battery life is good. Battery life's not too bad. It's not as good as the LG G Watch, but it's not horrible either.
Cool. All right. Well, I think that wraps up Motorola. There was that Hint, the Moto Hint earpiece thingy, which I thought was pretty neat. It's kind of just like, it's not really, calling it a Bluetooth headset would kind of be a disservice. It's more like it can do voice commands and interact with your phone without like really turning on your phone. It's pretty
like,
cool.
It's almost an extension of their, wireless. What do they call it? Touchless controls on Moto X and all that. It's basically Google Glass without the glass. It's your smartwatch Moto 360 without the display on it. It's whatever you want to call it, but all the cool voice stuff that you can do with Google Now and all that you can just do with this little Bluetooth little tiny little earbud. But 3 hours of battery life, not so hot.
Right.
But it's so tiny, you just put it in your ear. It's cool.
Kind of on that note, am I crazy or do I remember the Moto X has some infrared sensors on the front for like gesture controls, or is that?
Oh
yeah.
Yep. They do. I haven't been able to get them to work correctly. It
like
says
a Fire phone.
you can swipe it and it will like change tracks and stuff, or you could like all this stuff.
Oh really? I thought all that was just when you when you put your phone over it when it's off. I thought the notifications turned on. That's all I heard that it did.
No. You can when a call comes on, you can like dismiss the call or silence it just by waving your hand over it.
None of the reviews I saw mentioned that at all. That's so weird.
Yeah, it's like the feature that it kind of takes you through a tutorial when you first boot up your phone and everything, and it tells you everything it can do. It's pretty neat. It's kind of a little bit weird because it's not even your hand. If you just kind of walk by it, it's like the display is off right now, and if I just kind of move my head over it, it's like, oh hey, what's going on? And it just turns on. It just detects any kind of shadow or movement. It kind of just goes on, and every now and again you can see the little IR sensors light up red. It's very faint, and it has to be like at the right angle, but you can see them like what? They glow because it's like searching. It's looking for you.
All right. Well, I think without further ado, we got to talk about Apple.
Oh.
That was Tuesday. 2 new iPhones and a watch. Holy cow!
Oh man, it was
The
amazing.
world's going crazy. People are lining up as we speak. No joke.
The demand was so high that their live stream was broken.
They literally crashed it. It wasn't. I don't know if it was crashed because of demand, but I think they had just technical issues on there.
But now I can talk about this. One of those Samsung commercials that came out wasn't even like making fun of any phone in particular. It was literally they made a commercial to make fun of the fact that Apple couldn't keep a live stream running.
Like, what is that? Why would you even? It's like so many people are watching this live stream. You're gonna make fun of the fact that so many people are interested about their phone. Like, I don't.
Yeah, really.
What are you doing, Samsung? What are you doing?
Oh my gosh.
I can imagine as soon as that started happening, I can imagine the conversation at Samsung headquarters. They were like, "Yo, somebody get in get in the studio and start making this video, like this commercial. This is
we
great."
Gotta get this going. We gotta get going. This like start
Literally
recording.
like descended into just pointing fingers and calling names at this point. Like it's not even.
There was nothing clever about any one of those. I went through every single one and was just like, "Are you freaking kidding me?" It was like reading the comments of like the whatever, just Android or something. It was so.
All right, but what was announced, right? So
Yeah.
the iPhone 6 came out, which in a non-Steve Jobsian move, increased in screen size again. Remember, Steve Jobs always said the 3.5-inch iPhone was the perfect size, and then
Steve Jobs is rolling in his grave.
they went to 4 inches for the past few generations, but now they bumped it up to 4.7-inch for the iPhone 6. But not just that, they released a 5.5-inch iPhone 6 Plus, which for the most part, other than the bigger display and a higher resolution and the optical image stabilization, the specs are more or less identical as far as I know between the two phones. So a lot of people thought you were going to have to choose, like if you wanted the better performance, you'd have to get the bigger iPhone, but I think they should be pretty similar across the board. But the first iPhones also to have true HD displays, Retina HD is the new thing. The design has changed. It's more like the iPad Air, sort of more curved, has a nice curved glass front. It looks really nice. Not the biggest fan of the design. I still think the 5S is one of my favorite smartphone designs, but the 6 looks nice. It looks better than I thought it looked in the initial leaks, but I was pretty impressed. I was excited about it. The phones were great. iOS 8 looks great. Apple Pay looks awesome. The Apple Watch, I don't know so much about that. I think that's not.
Yeah, we'll leave that for a little bit later. I really like the designs of the iPhones, actually. I'm all about the rounded edges. I am not a fan of the squared off because, I mean, yeah, it looks really cool, but I guess when the iPhone's not that big, it's not an issue. But some of the Android phones that have the squared off edges are not comfortable to hold at all. So I think
Yeah.
it was a good move making it bigger to round the edges.
Yeah, the round stuff is cool. I mean, to me, it just reminds me. It's like a throwback to like the original iPhone. So the original iPhone had that very round look, and then they went to the chiseled stuff with the iPhone 4, and now this one combines the aluminum with the round look of the original. So it's like I don't know. They're kind of going like back and forth. The round look looks cool, I guess. It's like an HTC One M8. I mean, looks very similar. Very similar.
I mean, the thing that disappointed me, and a lot of people said the same thing. Of course, they made it thinner again because they always do that. But I'm just like, can we, for 1 year, not make it thinner, but make the battery bigger?
Like I don't know who these focus groups are. The dude running like their R&D, but like someone out there is just like we gotta make it thinner. It's gotta have that thinner spec on it. Otherwise, people are going to flip out. No, nobody's gonna care if it gets thicker. No,
If
not
they
a
don't
single
make it
person.
thinner, what are they going to do with that slide in their presentation?
It's so.
I
It's
applaud
insane.
the manufacturers that are brave enough to make their phone thicker the next year.
Yeah.
I think the Moto X might have gotten a little bit thicker in the
The thing-
middle.
Yeah. I think it was. Well, no, I think it's all around thinner, and the sides. No, you're right. I think the middle got thicker, but the sides got thinner
Yeah.
because it
Yeah,
has this
yeah.
curve deal to it, which is fine because I mean, you don't when you hold your phone, if you want thinness, you feel it just by holding the sides. You can't feel that middle part, so you can make that thing as thick as you want. I don't give a crap. Just give me like some beefy battery, and that's kind of the thing with Apple is like their software is awesome. They get good battery life on their iPhone. iOS is meant, it does really well with, optimizing battery life, all that stuff. If they would have just given it a little extra battery, that thing could have had freaking 2-day battery life. That could have been like its killer feature, and I'm so surprised.
Yeah.
So
They
surprised
think
they didn't do that.
people want thinner every year for some reason, and
And not battery life. When that's like the pain point with every single phone. Everyone always talks about is like, man, I wish this thing had better battery life. I mean, we're using our smartphones for so much more than we were when like the original iPhone came out or any of this stuff. Like now we're doing everything on these stupid little things. They need bigger batteries. Like it's just
Yeah.
there's
And
no
they
so
kinda
way.
Kevin, you're the self-declared Apple fanboy, as you said the show.
Yeah.
Which one of
I
these
didn't
models
say
are
it.
you
I
going
mean, I
to
was
get?
just I wouldn't get the iPhone 6, and I'm trying to think of ways to make that happen. So
we were discussing like carrier options and all that,
Yeah.
right?
yeah, I was thinking. I'm trying to figure out because I think I might switch carriers if that's what it takes to get the new iPhone.
And you're on Verizon right now, right?
Well, Verizon, yeah, but T-Mobile's tempting. T-Mobile just had some announcements yesterday too. I don't know if we have time to talk about those, but they just.
Yeah, that's gonna be in my wins and fails. So I guess we'll get to that a little bit later.
But,
But
Yeah, I like
just-
the iPhone 6 better because I've said it a million times. Even though like I'm a bigger person, I have bigger hands. Like the big phones have never done much for me. My favorite screen size I've ever experienced was the 4.3-inch screen of the Droid Razr M, like the Droid Mini, whatever that was.
Mm-hmm.
4.7 though, that's I can deal with that, but I don't want a 5.5-inch display.
I mean, the
Yeah.
thing about their phone though is that they could make the display significantly larger if they just got rid of some of the damn bezel, or they could make the whole phone all around smaller just by kind of decreasing some of that bezel. And it was really I don't want to say surprising that they didn't decrease the bezel, but I mean Apple phones are like the bezelicious bezels. There's
I
just
love that bezel.
yeah, it's so much bezel on the top and bottom.
I mean,
Wasted
that
wasted
is
space.
kind of funny thing that you say because, like, people, you retweeted this the other day, and this kind of annoyed me. The comparison between the Note 4 and the iPhone 6 Plus, because they are kind of similar sizes, and it was a screenshot of the Verge reviews, and they're like, oh, the Note 4, it's too big, blah blah blah. But then they had this another comment that they made about
Unwieldy.
the 6 Plus is that it actually not that bad, it fits in your hand pretty good. And of course, bias, huge bias.
Apple
But the thing
fanboys.
is, the 6 Plus, I think it is easier to hold. I've never held it yet, but it's thinner and it's not as wide, which makes all the difference in
Absolutely,
tablet, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when you hold a phone, that's kind of my issue with a lot of these bigger phones is that like I need to get these little digits. What are those? My mandibles, my metatarsals. I don't know. These little guys. They got to be able to wrap around it. And when you start getting to like the bigger phones, I can't hold it like that. It's like my fingers have to hold it like that. That's as far as I can like wrap around something like the Note and all that, which makes it slip out of my hand. It flips out all the time, and just it's too hard to hold. But yeah, if it's thinner, I could see how that would be a little bit easier to grip and hold on to for sure.
It is really surprising that, I mean, they really did that 6 Plus is pretty honking, and I thought they would make the 6 bigger, but they have a legit phablet now, and I never thought Apple would.
I'm even at the very least I'm excited to get in a store and put these in my hand and feel them just because they it's such a different direction for them to go. I just want to see how it actually feels in your hand when the finished product. So I'm extremely interested to check out both of them.
I'm real curious how the display looks on the 6 because it's not even technically. I guess it's
Yeah.
just slightly above 720.
Yeah, it's
Well,
a hair above.
yeah, I think that's you're probably gonna see some jaggies and stuff if you have like really specialized. My thing is I want to see the display technology, which they were kind of touting during the event, which had this like weird pixel arrangement, and they like lasered, chamfered some sort of I don't even know. They use some sort of crazy new technology, which is supposed to be so freaking clear. I'm kind of curious to see how it compares to AMOLED or just SLCD3 or any of that stuff.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like they talk a big talk in terms of that, but at the end of the day, it's 1334 by 750, and that's all the pixels you're gonna get. It's nothing they can do to. I mean, that's it.
To make that look better.
I mean, it looks like it.
They got Moto G resolution. I mean, that's kind of crazy if you think about it. It's almost got the same resolution as a $200 Moto G.
They also probably still have 1 GB of RAM in the phone for like the 5th year in a row. So
That part, I think honestly, if I was an Apple fan, I would have walked out as soon as I like saw that spec. Like, no, forget this.
Wait, how much RAM is it?
I mean, I don't know if it's confirmed. I think we're just assuming that they only have 1 GB of RAM in
Yeah,
there.
I mean, they didn't mention a damn thing about it, which kind of makes me think that, and they never do mention it because they like I just found out the other day that frickin' which one was it, the 5 or like the one before it, the 4S or something? Those only had like 578 megabytes of RAM, which is
And
freaking
that's why
insane.
a lot of those iPhones actually get really slow after a while.
No, they freaking chug, and not only that, it's the 5S. I have the 5S right now, and opening apps, you'll open an app that you just had open not that long ago, and it has to reload the entire freaking app. So you're waiting for the CPU to load it, and then you got to wait for the internet to load the data on there, and then you're just killing like 5 or 6 seconds just staring at your screen waiting for this stupid like Instagram or something to open up, and you're just like, why don't this thing have more RAM? Why don't it? Like, it kills me every single
I
time.
mean, I could see maybe they increase it to like 1.5 gigs, but probably not.
Probably not.
Probably
It's
not.
not like they're gonna say it, but did they talk about like, oh, apps open faster and blah blah blah? Because
Well, they were
that's
talking
the
about-
way they would say it.
Yeah. Marketing speak.
Yeah, they really only talked about the processor performance with the A8, which is supposed to be faster, but it's still everything we know about the A8 is that it's still a dual-core processor, and it's still probably clocked around 1.4 gigahertz. So,
All right, so elephant in the room, iWatch. Actually, excuse me, Apple Watch.
No.
watch.
Except Tim Cook actually called it iWatch after the event in an interview. So
Really?
I
Did
think
he
it's
seriously?
yeah.
That is hilarious.
But yeah, so Apple Watch. I don't even know what to say.
Why? First of all, why wouldn't they call it the iWatch? They have the iPhone,
You know what?
iPad.
I like it. I think putting I in
iMac.
things is getting kind of
No,
clowny.
I totally agree. But I
totally
think
agree.
they should have done it with like a flagship smartphone first. They should have been like, oh, and this one's not even called the iPhone 6. It's just
No, you cannot change the name iPhone.
iPhone
it's
is
the
iconic.
rebirth. It's the rebirth of the iPhone. It's the
iconic.
Apple phone. The Apple
No,
phone.
but the Apple Watch, I think part of it might be that there already exists some trademark out there for iWatch by some other company. I
That's
think
good. That's actually a very good point.
that might be part of it.
Rip-off company.
But like, I'm okay with believing the idea that maybe Apple wants to start distancing itself from the branding. I mean, they went with Apple Pay instead of iPay, so like.
They still
Yeah.
call the camera eyesight though. I don't know.
But iSight camera's been around for a while.
Yeah, and I think that's all Jobs is doing, and I think slowly but surely you're going to see him starting to move away from that eye thing. I think.
But name aside, it is a smartwatch from Apple, and
Yes.
it's
And
kind
everyone
of
went crazy
weird.
about it, but I don't see the point. I don't see what everyone's so excited about.
I wouldn't say everyone went crazy about it.
Yeah.
I've seen quite a few people that are kind of meh on it, more so than most Apple
I've
devices.
seen everyone going crazy over the iPhone 6, but these same people that were like, "Oh, I'm instant buying the iPhone 6," they're not. They're a little on the fence about this Apple Watch thing. So
It does too much, and it doesn't look anything. We expect Apple to do great design, and it looks just like every other Android Wear smartwatch.
It really does, and like I wanted to say that, but when you say something like, "Hey, take the Apple logo off that," and would anyone buy it? I mean, people just kind of eat at you and call you a fanboy. But I mean, it's so true in this case. It's just a glossy, shiny square.
it's got rounded edges, man.
I expected so much more.
I think the Moto 360 still looks way better than the iWatch.
Like, not even close. Not
Yeah.
even close.
Yeah, the Moto 360 by far is still the sexiest Android or just smartwatch in general.
They have
and
some
that
cool
stupid-
bands, though. They look cool.
The dial thing, like, that is not how I want to use an interface.
I literally, my jaw dropped when I saw them talking about the freaking crown, the crown
Digital
thing.
crown.
Oh, sorry, not a dial. It's a
No.
crown.
Digital crown, and they're talking about
digital crown.
like the iPod like revolutionized the world with its touch wheel, and we took that technology and somehow I could not believe it. Like, wait a minute, you're interacting by like come in, Dick Tracy.
I
Zooming
literally
in and out
don't
and-
know how you launch an app on the iWatch. Like, I actually don't. Do you zoom in on it with the dial or
It's
what?
like a big field of apps. How do you get to the one you want? Like, there's
Well,
like
you zoom in with the dial, so when you see that freaking all those little, and just look at, first of all, it's so much different from Android Wear. It's like completely different philosophy. They're pulling a Samsung is really what they're doing. They're making this stupid thing run everything, and it's literally almost like a full blown iOS. They just shrunk it down. You have a trillion apps on there. Just look at the app. It was like 100 apps that they showed on there, all those
Yeah.
little dots, and then you turn the little crown to zoom in on the app you want. Which, just think about all that downtime. First of all, I need to launch this app, and then you're like, well, let me just zoom in, and like, there it is. Touch the app, launch it, and it's crazy.
They showed, I mean, they actually showed in a video someone using the Apple Watch to show someone photos from their gallery.
Yeah,
and I'm just
how
like,
do you gotta,
what?
like-
Why would you do that on your watch?
For the love of God. Like, if there's one thing where Steve Jobs is rolling over in his grave, I swear it's this watch. Like, there's no way he would have let this slide by. Like,
Yeah.
this is literally just a reaction from Apple or whatever. This is just their answer to all these new wearables that are coming out.
And the reality of it is, though, is for this to be successful, all Apple really had to do was release the same watch and be like, it syncs with your iPhone and gives you notifications and tracks your heart rate, and people would buy it, and they'd be like, "That's
Instantly.
awesome," you know?
People
Boom.
are going to buy it, but I think once they get it, using it is gonna. I think a lot of people are gonna be confused as hell.
Yeah.
And not only just confused, you're going to look so douchey because instead of just looking at your phone all the time, you'll be like, just zooming in.
Are you setting the time over there, bro? What are you doing? Oh
what-
no, I'm actually launching the photo gallery.
Yeah, no, I'm sending my girlfriend dick pics. Hold on.
No, I'm sending her my heartbeat.
I'm sending my...
Oh yeah. That's
You
the
can
most
send
revolutionary
people a
communi-
heartbeat.
It's the most revolutionary method of communication. You can draw a doodle and send it to someone's.
Yeah,
I
like
mean, that's the thing. It doesn't need to be revolutionary. I don't feel like Apple needs to, constantly like do some sort of crazy innovation thing, but it just needs to at the very least, just be useful. Be useful, make sense, and be very easy to use. And I feel like they completely missed the mark with this thing.
the one thing it has going for it is the watch bands. They did
Yeah, those are
something
nice.
really cool with
Those
that.
are cool.
They're
Yeah,
like magnetic and they're actually pretty dang awesome.
They
the
lock
bands.
into place. It's very Apple-esque. At the same time, that can be seen as probably the crappiest part because you have to get these Apple
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
That is true.
But they give a good variety, and again they had 3 different lines and 2 different sizes. I don't even know if they ever said specifically what the sizes were, but you can get like the Sport Edition or like the Deluxe Edition that's like rose gold, or you can get
No, it's just that one's just called Edition.
Edition.
That's that's the
I know.
funniest
Like,
part.
I thought, was it okay? Is this the watch edition? But no, it's actually just edition.
Or you can get the Edition.
oh man,
At
and
first,
that's
it was like I saw watch edition. I'm like, oh, so what is this one? Just straight up a watch, nothing else, or what's the deal here?
if
Yeah,
you
just-
want the great Apple design but not the functionality, you get Watch Edition.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it was definitely a weird thing. That watch.
But Chris, that's part of the reason why I wanted to see how thick the Moto 360 was, because I've been reading that a lot of people say that the iWatch is actually very thick when it's sitting on your wrist. Like it's a
It
very
kind of looks that way. It does.
Yeah, I think honestly, I think that round design kind of makes it look more thicker because it's like I don't know, it's all round like a chubby little marshmallow on your wrist. But this hockey puck and the chiseled edges, like this looks more like a round iPhone 4S if you think about it. It's got the aluminum band around the sides, very chiseled. It's got chamfered edges. Like this looks like what Apple should have released. And
I'm really surprised no one at the Apple event had like a 360 or something to compare side by side.
That's actually a very, very good point. I mean, that goes to show you the people, I don't know, the people that were invited to this event were probably just all the...
I mean, not really. I mean, The Verge and people are there, and of course they all had the 360 and stuff. Their review went up before the event, so
Yeah.
I don't know why they didn't.
I was actually reading a story right before the event where they talked to an Apple PR person, like on they had an anonymous interview with an Apple PR person, and they were talking about how protective Apple is of events, and they'll fire PR people if they if a PR person invites a member of the press that asks the wrong question, then that PR person will
Ooh.
get fired because
That totally does not surprise me. It makes perfect sense. And honestly, I bet you the stuff that they had to sign to get into that event, it was like you will not do any comparisons.
Yeah,
Not
you're right.
hold up a 360 compared to this, or else you have like security jumping on you. Yeah, there's no way.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we've talked about all we can for these main events, which was quite a bit. And before we finish it, do we have release dates for any of these? I know the iPhones do.
Mhm.
the iPhones
iPhone
are
pre-orders tomorrow, right?
the 12th, yeah, tomorrow, and then they go on sale a week from tomorrow on the 19th. The watch I don't think is supposed to be coming out till early next year.
Yeah,
Moto G is out. Moto X, I don't
this
know.
month, I believe.
Later this month. They didn't even give it a solid. That's kind of very weird that they didn't. even give it a
$99
solid.
on contract though, which is cheaper than the original actually.
Yeah.
And the Note devices, I think we can pretty confidently say that they'll come out in October.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on to our wins and fails of the week.
All right. I'm going to start us off. So lost kind of in the talk of these new iPhones was the awesome fact that iOS 8 is coming out on the 17th, which is the middle of next week. It's going to hit iPhone 5S, iPhone 5, older models, I guess down to the 4S. I don't know if the 4 might be included. I don't know exactly which phones, how far back they go, but iOS 8 is coming out. It's awesome. And another thing we didn't really touch on that goes along with iOS 8 is the introduction of Apple Pay. These new iPhones have NFC chips finally.
Oh, right.
Of course, Apple acted like they invented the NFC chip, even though people have had this around forever. But still, if anybody has a chance to make NFC mobile payments a thing, it's Apple. I actually think it's funny if you go onto Apple's site and look at they're like, look for this logo at stores to accept payment, and it's just like the generic NFC payment logo, and it's like wouldn't Apple have loved to have like their own logo for that, but it already exists. So it's like, but still, I think it's awesome that Apple Pay exists, and it's awesome as part of iOS 8.
That's
People that don't have the
exciting
iPhone 6 won't be able to take advantage of the NFC function, but I would assume maybe that you can do that other Apple Pay, because there's an online component to Apple Pay, so I think older phones might be able to take advantage of that. But super cool. You just put your thumb over Touch ID and pay for it.
I forgot to talk about that during the regular part of the show, but yeah, I think that was huge
That's
for people
probably
that yeah.
For Android users, I think as an Android user, I was like, oh, freak yeah, yes, they're using NFC. Like now it's gonna take off. Everyone's gonna have it everywhere.
Yep.
awesome. Like that's probably the best news for as an Android user that Apple is finally using NFC. Like that is just the
Yeah.
coolest.
So that's my win. Kind of touched on this briefly, but my fail is going to be, well, I'm going to nominate a secondary one too. Those Samsung commercials are my main
Oh
favorite.
gosh, those were
Those
were bad.
just bad. But the Note 4 versus the iPhone 6, yeah. So that was a fail. But I'm going to say Apple's the Apple Watch design. I wasn't impressed. I was disappointed with what I saw. So.
All right. Yeah, I'm with you there. My win of the week is Google Play Store now has a 2-hour return period for paid apps and games, which is pretty cool. It was 15 minutes before, right, Chris?
Yep, 15 freaking minutes, and they
Didn't
changed
it
that.
start as like 24 hours and then it jumped down to 15
Yeah.
minutes?
Ever since like the Android market first came out, it was like 24 hours, and then in 2010, actually found an old Kevin article from like 2010 where it was they switched it over to what was it 15 minutes, and everyone was just kind of like, what the freak,
Yeah.
this is ridiculous. And now 2 hours, more than enough time. I would have been happy with 1 hour, but 2
Yeah,
hours.
you can definitely get a feel for the app because I remember I did once. I think I've only one time bought an app and then returned it, and yeah, like it was not very fast.
Yeah.
Or
I mean,
it was very fast. Excuse me.
the 15-minute thing is like you're racing, you're sweating, you got a stopwatch going, and you're like, holy crap, I got to return this and make sure it works. And sometimes you get a force close, the app might not even work, so you're just like, dang it, it's like over 15 minutes already, the app doesn't even work, but I'm totally screwed. But to me, this is like a huge selling point versus like the whole Android versus iOS crap is whatever. Like this is, you can try any app you want for 2 hours. Like just tell people that, and they'll be like, holy crap, that's kind of awesome.
Is there a return period on the App Store?
There's not. There's
None. Zero.
Nothing. Yeah, nothing. You just
Wow.
gotta buy it. You gotta buy it, or you gotta look for some reviews, because that's it. Once you
All
commit,
right. Wow.
you're
I
screwed.
didn't even know that. I thought they had at least something, but yeah, I guess it is a huge deal then.
I'm sure you can contact Apple customer care and talk to someone. They can remove it from your account and go through all these hoops. But yeah, there's no just press a refund button. Nope.
All right. So my fail of the week is going to be the aforementioned Moto 360 battery life, and it's not as bad as what people originally said, but it's definitely not as good as the other ones. And for me, at least, like I woke up that morning when it went on sale, ready to buy the Moto X or Moto 360. But the first few reviews I saw where they mentioned like the 12-hour battery life, 10-hour battery life, things like that, just completely turned me off. And like Chris, you said you're getting 24 hours and stuff, and I'm like, okay, yeah, that's pretty good, but I don't know. I just feel like it's still not cutting it for me. So I'm gonna have to pass on it.
I think you should still be very interested, only because it's so easy to charge. When you charge it, like right now, you're like, I'm gonna get lunch, and you can charge that little thing, and by the time you're done with your lunch, it's gonna be fully charged again, and you have another 24 hours to go. And
I don't even want to have to think about that though. Like.
yeah, but it makes and that's the cool thing. It makes such a cool little bedside clock. So once you do dock it, it has that like low little power. It's like very dim, cool little clock screen that just stays on.
I can't sleep with like any lights on, so that's.
Well, yeah. I don't think you can turn that off either. But it's very dim. I will say that it's very, very low light. Like you can barely see. You can't even see it in the day. It looks like the display's off. But at night,
maybe I will pick it up down the line. But it's just I was so excited for it, and it turned me off. From the initial excitement of buying it that day, because I really was like, I was ready. I got up that morning, and I was actually really excited that it was going on sale, and I was going to get it. I was going to get it in the gray version, and
I mean, even if you still wanted to get it, you probably wouldn't have got it.
Yeah,
right.
Sold out.
So, yeah, because it went on. I mean, it was gone so fast. But yeah,
I guess
maybe if it comes back on sale a little bit later, I'll give it a second choice. But then also the OMAP thing, the OMAP 3, that's also kind of like made me think,
and if you
that's
think
probably
about
a
it,
bigger deal.
like these watches are only going to do more and more. So even though sure it's getting fine battery life right now with the 5 or
Right.
so apps that are out, but wait until all this other crazy stuff starts coming out, and you'll probably see that battery life drop significantly. So
Yeah. So I guess I'll wait for Android Wear next gen devices.
Oh yeah, Moto 362 with NFC, Google Wallet built in. Boop, scanning it.
Oh, yeah, that is cool thing the Apple Watch has though. Is I guess it has the NFC in there too. You can just pay
Yep.
with your watch. Like
That's probably
Wireless charging. Yeah.
the coolest thing. It's awesome.
All right, Chris, what do you got for us?
My wins and fails. So my win's going to be the T-Mobile Uncarrier 7 event that they had yesterday. They announced Wi-Fi calling unleashed, and this is basically they're kind of overhauling their Wi-Fi calling feature that not only T-Mobile offers. I guess Sprint started offering something similar recently too, but theirs is going to be. They've changed the way it works in all their phones now. Now every single phone they sell is going to have Wi-Fi calling built in, and it's going to be completely seamless. It's just going to work, and it's going to work like almost in the background. You don't have to actually turn on Wi-Fi calling now. When you buy a T-Mobile phone, you have to jump into settings. You have to push the little Wi-Fi calling button, turn it on. Now, like every phone out of the box is going to have it just already built in. It's just going to work, and it's really, really cool. T-Mobile is also offering free upgrades. If you have a phone that doesn't have Wi-Fi calling, they'll let you upgrade early through their Jump program. Even if you're not eligible, they don't care. They want you on Wi-Fi calling because, of course, I mean, it helps alleviate some of the strain on their network. And they're getting, what was it, 2.7 million new customers last month, which is like the biggest month they've had in the history of T-Mobile. Absolutely nuts. So they're doing something right. And you can even get a free wireless router, which I believe is on the 17th. So next week sometime, you can go to T-Mobile and you can tell them, hey, my wireless router, it doesn't work that great. I want my Wi-Fi calling, and they'll give you this crazy ASUS router, which has a lot of T-Mobile's proprietary technology built into it. So it's so easy, just plug and play. Don't have to set up anything. You just plug it into your existing wireless router, or I guess your regular router, and it's already ready to go. And you can use it. You can use it as a regular, computer, connect your laptops and all kinds of other devices. And it's got 3 crazy ASUS antennas coming out the top, so like you should have some pretty good range with that thing. It's pretty advanced wireless router. So that's going to be my win. My fail is kind of, I don't know, it's kind of like a win fail in a way. NVIDIA accidentally leaked the HTC Nexus 9. They completely spilled the beans, let the cat out of the bag. NVIDIA is actually suing Samsung and Qualcomm over some GPU patent technology stuff that they have on their processors. But in that legal document, they talk about how in the third quarter that they plan on partnering with HTC for the Nexus 9. That's releasing sometime very, very soon, within quarter 3, which is I think this month is the last month of quarter 3. So this HTC Nexus 9 is a thing. It's going to happen. It's going to happen really soon, and we know about it now thanks to NVIDIA. Thanks, guys. And that's going to be it for my wins and fails.
All right, app picks of the week. Kevin,
all
kick it
right.
off.
I guess this is less a pick and more of just like I had to pick this because I'm so excited.
They actually updated it.
Google Voice hasn't been updated for iOS for over a year, so now a week before iOS 8 comes out, Google Voice has been partially updated for iOS 7. It's still not completely in line with iOS 7 design, but it looks a little bit better. The reason for this Google Voice update, which kind of in a larger sense applies to Android users too, is that it's in preparation of rolling out Google Voice integration into the Google Hangouts app for iOS, which has been happening for Android as well. So that's my choice, Google Voice for iOS. I stopped using Google Voice because the app on iOS sucked so much. But
so ugly. It was.
But now I'm going to get back into using it again because I love it for voicemail and I love it for all those other things that you can do with it. So with Hangouts and the new app, it's going to be cool. I'm excited.
Definitely.
All right. So my pick of the week is SUP.
SUP
for Android. Kevin talked about this as his app pick for iOS a couple weeks back, and we were kind of talking about how it was like one of those apps that was just kind of for iOS only and never was going to come to Android, but it actually did. And if you recall, it's like live video. You call someone, but then you like give them commands. So like, hey, move your camera left or move it right or flip it around and take a selfie of yourself. And it's kind of weird but cool. Like a lot of new apps, weird but cool.
Yeah, I don't know if this features on the Android version, but recently the iOS version got an update and they have sup accounts for places. Like you can just like sup a place. I don't know exactly how it works, but it
Oh,
seems cool.
interesting. It's like a
You can see like
business
what's
maybe.
going on at a business, like at a bar or something.
Yeah.
See, it'd be cool if you could sup like a camera that was always on somewhere and it was like robotic and you hit left, right, whatever, and the camera like just moves.
Well,
Like,
I think that's what they're doing because
is it?
the only one I've tried was for the sup headquarters, but when you sup the sup headquarters, it wasn't like someone's phone. It seemed like it was a robotic camera on a desk somewhere that was moving around based
Yeah.
on your input.
I mean, essentially, it's like a streamlined version of just like an IP webcam viewer thing, which all of those they have controls if like your camera supports it and you're using the right protocols and all that weird stuff that works with that. You can adjust. You can move these cameras around using just a regular viewer. So it's kind of like that's all that this is, but in this cool social, hip, very easy to use, like no fuss type interface thing. It's cool.
I'm currently supping Kevin.
Oh gosh.
Trying to accept. So here we go.
I literally just deleted that app from the iPhone like yesterday because I was like, man, it's just me and Kevin. I'm not gonna like.
Oh my gosh, this is really weird.
I'm gonna bug him all the time.
All right, so yeah, that was crazy. All right, Chris, what do you got for app pick?
My app pick is. Oh shoot, I don't think I have one, guys.
No, you totally do. I can't believe you're not remembering this. You just wrote about it.
I just like install so much crap. I mean, I always know there is stuff.
Hangouts, voice.
Hangouts. That was the one. That was the one. Okay, so Hangouts. Hangouts got a crazy new update yesterday. It's starting to roll out, and it's stage rollout, so not everyone will have it right off the bat. But we have a download link if you want to just sideload it. But Hangouts 2.3 it was just released, and it allows Google Voice calling. Like it's Google Voice is now integrated with Hangouts, and there's a bunch of people that are flipping out about this because it's the coolest thing ever. Meanwhile, people that don't have Google Voice are kind of scratching their heads like, I don't understand what's so awesome about this. But basically, it allows you to do voice over IP calls using Google Hangouts. Now you actually have to download, which is very odd, a supplemental app called Google Hangouts Dialer. And once you download that app, it unlocks that feature inside of Hangouts, and then you can swipe over to another tab, and it's got a dialer. You can make phone calls, basically bringing it up to speed with the iOS version of the app. Hangouts on iOS actually still does a lot more. They have these like cards that you can send people. You can still do video messaging on that. I was hoping to see that somewhere in this version or this updated version of Hangouts for Android, but they still haven't added it. Kind of a fail and annoying, but at least they have Google Voice calling now, and you don't need to have a SIM card. So if you have another Android device lying around and you just want to make calls over Wi-Fi, totally doable. Totally doable, totally awesome. And you can integrate SMS messages from Google Voice. So you can permanently not permanently, you can always send it back, but you can just use Hangouts for all your SMS messages on Google Voice using your Google Voice number. So awesome. So cool. So now all these 500 devices that I have lying around, I can literally use them as like a full-fledged phone, even though I don't have a SIM card. I don't have to go swapping my SIM cards and all these different
I
phones.
could set up like a pseudo landline at my house with a Google Voice phone.
Yeah, just some crappy old Android phone you got lying around. Just kind of set that up as your landline. Pretty amazing.
All right, we got a couple questions here that we'll finish the show off with. The first one is an app question from David Hollingshead. He says, I'm looking for an app that lets me create an alternate number for texting or phone, but every app I've looked at requires my contact list. Do you know of any that don't? I already use Google Voice, but I'd rather use that for only certain things. So a texting app that doesn't require a contact list.
With alternate numbers.
There is an app. But it's not. You're not going to be able to keep that number. It's kind of like a weird thing. 'Cause I don't understand what he means by the contacts thing. He doesn't want to have to use his contacts.
Yeah, I guess he doesn't want to share his contact information with the app. But
yeah, a lot of those texting apps they need to.
I
They
don't
need
see
to
what they're
access your
doing.
contacts.
Yeah, I mean that's the problem though. Because they need they need to view your contacts in order for you to say, hey, like you type in their name, and if I type in KE, it'll show Kevin's number. That's why they need to read those. So I guess he wants it to be completely private, and I'm not sure if there's anything that doesn't use contacts like that. There is an app called Burner, which we covered on Android I think long time ago, but it gives you a private phone number, and it's supposed to be used for like making calls on Craigslist and stuff like that, so you can give people this burner number. But I don't think it gives you anything that's permanent. I think you have to actually pay to have this permanent number. The free version, which you can just download right now, will give you a burner number, but after 7 days or something like that, I forget how long, it'll just die. That number will be dead, and you'll have to start up the app again and use a totally different number. So if you're willing to pay for it, I would try Burner. It's on Android, and it allows you to make calls, send texts like that. You don't have to use Google Voice. I think that's probably the best option.
All right, last question from Rob Jackson, and this is going to kind of wrap everything up we talked about today nicely. If you could have one device that was just announced, so all the devices we talked about today, Note 4, No Edge, Gear S, Gear VR, Moto X, Moto G, Moto 360, iPhone 6, iPhone 6 Plus, Apple Watch, could have one, what would it be? Kevin, you go first.
iPhone 6.
And why?
iPhone 6 because of everything I said.
Yeah. I'd take the Moto X. I like it. I don't really have much of an in-depth reason for it.
Yeah, right now I'm kind of okay. So there's the Sony Xperia Z3, which is coming out soon. Has a huge battery, but the screen and the size of the Z2, it's almost the exact same as the Z2, which I have right now. A little too big, a little unwieldy. It's got these sharp edges that kind of just jut out from your pant pockets and stuff. A little too big, so I don't think I'm gonna go with that. Although I want to. I want that to be my next phone, and it has like 2-day battery life and stuff. But my toss-up right now is the Moto X and the HTC One M8. Of course, I know people always call me an HTC fanboy, but I'm kind of in between. I'm not sure which one I'm leaning towards. I'm probably gonna go with the Moto X simply because of the battery life. It's got great standby time. If you just leave this thing and you don't touch it, their battery will last for days on end. It just, even despite its small little tiny battery, the battery life is really good in standby mode. So I'm kind of leaning towards a really cool custom Moto X.
Yeah, I guess that would be my more in-depth reason, because when the last Moto X came out, I really wanted one, kind of, just because of Moto Maker. Like, I played around in Moto Maker so much, so I really like that, yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. And Moto Maker is getting an upgrade, too. They allow you to, what is it? You can customize you can save a bunch of different custom variants, so you could have, like, if you can't decide, you're like, I want to see how this looks, and you can save that one, and then you can save another one, and then you can go back and kind of compare and decide which one you really want to pull the trigger on. So it's kind of neat.
Sweet. Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up. Had a longer than usual podcast, but had so much to talk about. Yeah.
So much stuff.
You could call this the podcast plus.
Oh, you know what? There's one thing I wanted to mention completely off topic, because I know that we talked about this a while back on the podcast a long time ago. Long-time listeners would remember that we mentioned Satisfries a long time ago.
Oh my gosh, that's like original. That's like first 5 episodes, I think.
I just want to let everyone know that they're not on Burger King's menu anymore. They've discontinued the Satisfries.
I'm devastated. Absolutely devastated.
And my girlfriend's actually the one that told me, and she was really upset. She's like, I really like the Satisfries.
I was so satisfied.
She was satisfied, man. I never actually had them, so now I'm sad. Like, I missed out on this fad. Dang.
Well, man, I had them the first day that we talked about it. I went out and I bought them, and they were pretty darn good. They're very potatoey, very light.
Well, they are supposed to be French fries made out of potatoes, so I'd hope.
Whatever. But I mean, they replaced them with chicken fries now, so they brought back chicken fries for a
It's like the hell with being healthy. Let's just make our fries out of chicken.
Yeah, they replaced a light version of a French fry with a deep fried chicken strip.
You know what? I mean, that's kind of what I've always felt like Burger King is because they have those huge burgers. It's just let's let McDonald's worry about apples and salads, and we're just going to give you a Whopper.
Here's a freaking Whopper, just the way you want it, you fat piece of...
All right, so anyway, if you'd like to email us a question, you can use our address podcast@mobileroar.com. You can subscribe to the audio version on Stitcher Radio, iTunes, and everywhere else. You can follow us on Twitter. Chris is at GamerCore, Kevin is at You Don't Know Kev, and I am at TallSchmo. And we will see you guys next week for more news. See ya.